Hey guys, how's it going? So it's me, Dragos, and I am in Rotterdam today. I'm going to be doing a show tonight here. It's all sold out. Look at that. It looks pretty nice, right? Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a bit of time, and since I've been doing these shows around Europe, I have like 5 tricks that have kind of helped me out in doing better with my shows and my performances, right? So these are 5 tricks to keep in mind when performing in Europe. Okay. So let's go. Okay. So number one is make sure you speak slow, not super slow, but slow enough for people to understand. Now the number one issue in Europe is the majority of the people that come to the shows are not native English speakers, right? So this is their second language, sometimes it's their first language, and even though they're fluent and quite competent, sometimes it might take maybe a slightly microsecond longer to kind of understand and process the information that you're trying to give them, right? So one of the things that I've kind of always tried to do is I try to kind of slow down my pace of speech, because I'm just naturally a very fast talker, right? So I try to slow down. Okay, that's number one. Let's onwards to number two. Say man, Rotterdam is pretty nice. Look at that. Trucks, nice houses, oh, nice trees. All right, moving on to number two. Number two for me is most important thing to keep in mind when performing in Europe is, again, based on the fact that a lot of people are not native English speakers, what I make sure I do is I repeat parts of my setup. So for example, when I set up a joke, I try to make sure that people get the setup. So I repeat it once, twice, and I do this with a lot of them from my show, which lengthens the show. But the point is, the idea is that if people understand the setup, then they'll be able to kind of get the punchline. Oh, almost died. Look at that. So repetition is very important. I try to repeat the setup as much as I can in order to drive the point home, right? So try to, if you see that there's a bit of an issue with the performance, people are not getting the jokes, my advice is to try to repeat the setup once, twice, and again repeat it slow. All right, on to number three. Ah, look at that. This is the Rotterdam butt plug gnome. The butt plug gnome. You heard it. Butt plug gnome. Alright, so the butt plug gnome told me to say number three. Number three most important things that I keep in mind. So the number third thing is basically sometimes there are people that try to, again, they don't understand what I'm saying. Not because they don't speak English, because they don't, I've said it fast enough and I wasn't paying attention to rule number one, right? The number one trick. So sometimes if someone's taking time to explain to the other person what I've just said or what I've meant, I actually jump into the conversation and I say, hey, can I explain it myself? And then I explain it in a funny way for the whole group. So for example, sometimes this one time this person didn't know what fornication meant. So then, I just thought, look, fornica is ant in some countries, and it's like that feeling when you have ants in your pants and you want to get rid of them. You either do it with fornication or masturbation. So a simple way to kind of explain it. So I use that little kind of trick to jump in and explain, and it also helps the flow and makes people feel more comfortable, not so conscious about the language or of the sorts, right? So yeah, you can feel free to use that trick. And on to number four. All right, still in Rotterdam, and on to number four. So what I try to do, because again, remember, since we're doing comedy for people that in English, for people that I'm not a native English speaker, they're not native English speakers. What I try to do is I try to leave micro pauses before punchlines. So what's a micro pause? Like half a second of a pause. Once I set it up, just to kind of give me enough time to make an on-spot decision on whether I should repeat the premise or the last part of the premise, and just to kind of build a bit of anticipation. It gives a bit of time to process what's been said. So use a micro pause before the punchline. I've been doing this successfully, and again, it also helps build a bit of that oh my god, what is he gonna say, that mystery, that anticipation. Try to do it as much as you can. It does help kind of set a bit of a silence in the room for that time of the micro pause. You have to be comfortable with the silence, and then you break the silence. And silence actually also builds up a bit of tension. So you break the tension and the silence with the punchline. So use micro pauses as much as you can before punchlines. 0.5, 0.3, 0.7 potentially, maybe even 1 second of silence, sometimes 2. And I've found that it helped me quite a lot. So all right, on to number 5. So the last tip that I use for my shows around Europe when I perform for non-native English speakers is the following. I always try to start my set with 3 minutes of really, really, really short setup punchline, because that way, a lot of people coming to these shows with not a lot of expectations, but if you set up a really good kind of precursor, if you just have a really good, strong, funny start, then their expectation, they're more willing to, cut you some slack if you do like longer setups and you try to build up for something else. So what I would recommend is when you kind of do shows around Europe, I would recommend you start off really, really, really funny, really, really strong. Take your shortest, most punchiest jokes, put them at the front, and then really get the audience to pay attention, because the currency that you're working for here is attention, right? So if they feel that this person doesn't have the potential, cannot deliver, then their attention is gonna roam around, right? But if you go in strong with 5-6 jokes that are like hilarious, boom, 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 set up, punch, and they don't have time to react any other way, then you've won them, right? So that's kind of like my 5 little tricks that I use when I do shows around Europe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other suggestions, comments, please do leave them in the subscribe, leave in the comment section, and I'll try to make another one for next week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you later, bye.